Season 5 of The Walking Dead is not just a battle for survival, but also a journey of transformation for people pushed to their absolute limits, where every decision is stained with blood, and every character carries a fate with no turning back. Number 1. Rick Grimes as Andrew Lincoln. Back then, Rick Grimes entered Season 5 at the age of 39, a leader who no longer believed in the old world, no longer believed in the law, but only in the most ruthless survival instincts. After escaping Terminus, Rick was no longer the police officer he once was. He was ready to kill to protect the group, ready to strike before being betrayed. Step by step into Alexandria, Rick gradually faced the question, can humans return to civilization after becoming monsters? Moments like killing Pete, or the cold look in his eyes when facing Deanna, showed that Rick had completely changed. It is the conflict between reason and instinct that made this character iconic. Not a hero, but a survivor. In real life, Andrew Lincoln was born in 1973, and in 2026 he is 52 years old. He left the show in Season 9 to focus on his family, with no major scandals, but his departure shocked fans worldwide. He returned to the TWD universe through spin-off projects, proving his appeal has never faded. Rick Grimes is not just a character, but the soul of the entire series, a man who lost everything to become someone who cannot be defeated. Number 2. Daryl Dixon as Norman Reedus. Daryl Dixon at the age of 45 in Season 5 was no longer a rough outsider, but became the silent heart of the group. A warrior who spoke little but always acted first. After the hell of Terminus, Daryl continued to show absolute loyalty, especially through his journey with Carol and Beth, where he gradually revealed rare deep emotions. The scene where he broke down crying after losing Beth was one of the most painful moments, shattering the tough shell he had built over many seasons. When arriving in Alexandria, Daryl remained the most cautious, not believing in false safety. The contrast between his wild instincts and humanity made him one of the most beloved characters. In real life, Norman Reedus was born in 1969, and in 2026 he is 56 years old, formerly a model and photographer, known for his rugged personality. He has a notable relationship with Diane Kruger, but no major negative scandals. After TWD, he continued leading his own spin-off, becoming a pop culture icon. Daryl does not need the title of leader, because he himself is the symbol of the most enduring survival. Number 3. Glenn Rhee as Stephen Yeun. Glenn Rhee, at the age of 31 in Season 5, still retained a rare kind heart in a brutal world. But that very quality made his journey more fragile than ever. From a pizza delivery boy, Glenn became a spiritual pillar, always believing that people can still be good. On the journey to Alexandria, Glenn did not hesitate to save others, even forgiving Nicholas despite being betrayed. Those decisions were not weakness, but a choice to preserve humanity. His love for Maggie became a rare bright spot, a genuine emotion among the ashes. It is his unwavering kindness that made Glenn stand out, because in this world, keeping goodness is harder than surviving. In real life, Stephen Yeun was born in 1983, and in 2026, he is 43 years old, one of the most successful Asian actors in Hollywood, and was nominated for an Oscar for Minari. He has no major scandals, maintaining a clean and talented image. Glenn is not just a character, but a reminder that even in the deepest darkness, light can still exist, no matter how painfully fragile. Number 4. Carol Peletier as Melissa McBride. Not all heroes are born strong. Carol Peletier, at the age of 49 in Season 5, is living proof of the most ruthless transformation of a person pushed to the edge. From a weak, abused woman, Carol had become a cold warrior, the one who single-handedly burned down Terminus to save the group in a life-or-death moment. But Season 5 was not just victory, it was also an internal battle as Carol began to fear the person she had become. She pretended to be gentle in Alexandria, wearing the mask of a housewife, but behind it were eyes always ready to kill anyone who threatened her new family. The contrast between her fragile appearance and steel nature made Carol one of the deepest characters. In real life, Melissa McBride was born in 1965, and in 2026 she is 61 years old. Known for being private and almost scandal-free, her career closely tied to TWD as a symbol of powerful acting, Carol did not just survive, she evolved, becoming what this world forced her to become. Number 5. Carl Grimes as Chandler Riggs. Carl Grimes was only 15 in Season 5, but his eyes carried things no child should ever witness. Growing up among walkers and violence, Carl was no longer the innocent boy from the first season, but a true survivor, ready to hold a gun, ready to kill to protect his family. On the journey to Alexandria, Carl began to question the future, whether there was still room for childhood or if everything had been buried. Moments between Carl and Rick showed how their father-son relationship had changed. As Carl Carl was no longer just someone to be protected, but a companion. His premature maturity, along with cold eyes that still held a spark of hope, made Carl a symbol of a generation born into the apocalypse. In real life, Chandler Riggs was born in 1999, and in 2026 he is 27 years old. His early departure from the show caused major controversy among fans. After that, he pursued music and acting, living a relatively peaceful life with no major scandals. Carl is a painful reminder that war does not only take lives, but also steals childhood. Number 6. Maggie Greene as Lauren Cohan. Maggie Greene, at the age of 32 in Season 5, was no longer a farm girl, but had become a strong woman carrying the pain of losing her father, losing her sister, and the fear of losing the person she loved most. Her journey this season was tied to Glenn, but it was also a journey of standing on her own, as she no longer depended on anyone to survive. After the events of Terminus, Maggie continued to fight, not only to live, but to protect what remained of her family. When arriving in Alexandria, she began to imagine a different future, where people could rebuild their lives. But darkness was always lurking. The combination of strength and emotion made Maggie both resilient and deeply human. In real life, Lauren Cohan was born in 1982, and in 2026 she is 44 years old. She once left TWD due to contract disputes and later returned, creating much debate among fans. She continued to succeed in television projects and remained a familiar face in the TWD universe. Maggie is not just a survivor. She is a symbol of hope in a world that has lost almost everything. Number 7. Michonne as Danai Gurira. There are people who emerge from the apocalypse like living legends, and Michonne at the age of 42 in Season 5 is the embodiment of that deadly silence. Carrying a katana and a painful past not easily named, she does not need many words to prove her worth. After escaping Terminus with Rick, Michonne gradually opened up, especially upon arriving in Alexandria, where for the first time she allowed herself to think about a normal life. But that change was not easy, as she was constantly torn between her warrior instincts and her desire to be human again. Her relationship with Rick also began to grow, not through words, but through deep understanding. This subtle internal development made Michonne one of the most complex characters. In real life, Danai Gurira was born in 1978, and in 2026, she is 48 years old. Not only an actress, but also a talented playwright, globally known for her role as Okoye in Marvel, with no major scandals. Her career is a series of remarkable achievements. Michonne does not just fight walkers, she fights to preserve the remaining humanity within herself. Number 8. Abraham Ford as Michael Cudlitz. Abraham Ford, 49 years old in Season 5, appeared like a living tank, strong, rough, and always ready to charge into danger without hesitation. But behind those muscles and that gruff voice was a man who had lost everything, a broken family and shattered beliefs. During his journey with Rick's group, Abraham gradually found a new purpose, especially when realizing that the mission to save the world was no longer as clear as before. Upon arriving in Alexandria, he began to face the question, if there is no greater mission, what am I living for? His relationship with Rosita and his internal conflicts made him more than just a fighting machine, but a deeply wounded human being. The blend of strength and lost direction made Abraham unique. In real life, Michael Cudlitz was born in 1964, and in 2026 he is 62 years old, a veteran actor with many impressive roles. Later also working as a director and producer, he has no major scandals and is highly respected for his professionalism. Abraham is not just a warrior, he is proof that even the strongest people need a reason to keep going. Number 9. Sasha Williams as Sonequa Martin Greene. Sasha Williams, at the age of 29 in Season 5, was one of the characters who endured the most severe psychological trauma, as she constantly lost loved ones in a world that does not allow weakness. After Bob's death, Sasha gradually fell into instability, haunted and ready to rush into danger as a way to escape pain. In Alexandria, while others tried to adapt to a peaceful life, Sasha felt lost, as if she no longer belonged anywhere. Her intense internal struggle between living and letting go made her extremely real. Scenes of Sasha standing alone, facing walkers, were not just battles, but conversations with herself. In real life, Sonequa Martin Greene was born in 1985, and in 2026 she is 41 years old. After TWD, she became a major star with the lead role in Star Trek Discovery. She has a stable family life, no major scandals, and a positive image. Sasha is not just a victim of the apocalypse, she is a symbol of wounds that never heal. Number 10. Tyreese Williams as Coleman. Tyreese Williams, 37 years old in Season 5, was not the kind of person born to kill, and that made his story more tragic than anyone else. A physically strong man but full of compassion, Tyreese always tried to hold on to the good within him, even as the world collapsed. But in Season 5, his journey came to a haunting end when he was bitten and experienced hallucinations about the past and those he had lost. His final moments were not about fighting, but about acceptance, an ending both painful and peaceful. The contrast between strength and compassion made him one of the most unforgettable characters. In real life, Chad L. Coleman was born in 1974, and in 2026 he is 52 years old. He had a difficult childhood and rose in his acting career, with no major scandals but highly praised for his depth in roles. Tyreese did not die as a warrior. He passed away as a human being, and that is what makes the audience unable to forget. Season 5 ended like a deep wound, where each character of The Walking Dead not only survived, but also lost a part of their soul and continued moving forward, carrying memories, pain, and fragile hope in a world that had already died.